My PC is getting pissed off at me because I haven't restarted it to run some updates.
Same here. I was looking at that and I was like, what if it restarts right in the middle of you?
Well, they fixed it a while back to where it wouldn't, auto restart itself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Facebook. We are live.
What's up, Facebook?
Recording the Anything New podcast.
We are live as well.
Therefore, such as.
And that's why kids don't have maps.
That is
the
right.
Iraqs. Oh, hey, our audio works through Facebook.
Nice. Sounds good.
All right, give me just a sec.
Don't do that, Lawson. What is wrong with... I've got something jacked around.
Hey, Opia, you may want to bring your audio back up a little bit because on the YouTube stream, you're a little bit quieter now.
Oh, he's a little low?
Yeah.
Bring it back up, dog.
Okay. Well, now I'm just... here. Yeah, this is...
You may want to not put the show notes on that monitor though. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Is because I keep turning my head away from my microphone.
Oh.
And but I don't know why it's set up. Why it's set up here because OBS has to look at this monitor and.
All right. We're ready on my end. Facebook is live.
We're ready on my end. I'm not streaming, but it looks good on my screen. I see J-Dub in a haze.
J Dizzle.
Mm-hmm.
In the hizzy. All right.
Yeah,
we're ready.
All right.
Yep.
Welcome to Anything New. My name is Opie, and always I'm here with Pete.
Hello, friends.
And Matt.
What's up?
Anything New is a podcast where we talk about anything we've been using, perusing, or consuming this week, guys. We've got a lot of stuff on our plate. We've got a half sports episode, a half tech episode. We're going to be talking about the movie, the community movie of the week. I Care a Lot was on Netflix. Interesting movie. I'm excited to talk about it. Last Chance U, another Netflix series that's came out this week. We're going to be talking a little NCAA March Madness. If you don't live under a rock, there is some basketball to be played this upcoming week. It's probably the biggest event sporting-wise this time of year. People love it. A little Marvel action. Can't go an episode without talking some comics. Marvel Studios assembled. NFT, which is non-fungible token. A little Pete's cryptocurrency world. We're going to be talking about Amazon Aero, which is, did I say that right? Aero?
Eero. Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a Wi-Fi home device Matt's going to talk about. And it looks like Matt's the only one who got pickups this week, and I guess we all didn't spend any money, bring anything home. So I'm ready to go. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Ready to do this.
Ready to do this thing. So let's start off, I guess, with the community pick. This was Pete's pick. And Pete, you want to go ahead and talk about it just a little bit first and kind of set it up for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So this movie's called I Care a Lot. It's on Netflix. Came out last year. You know, this is one of those movies where normally I would not even give this movie the time of day.
Wait, was it last year? I thought wasn't it just like a couple weeks ago?
Well, it says I Care a Lot 2020 on IMDb.
Oh,
so
February 19th was the release date. Sorry. I thought it was, never mind. Go ahead.
So is that 2020 or 2021?
It was released in 2021, but I guess it says 2020 because that's when it was filmed. I don't know. Or maybe it was delayed. I don't know.
Okay. I'm not sure. It just says 2020 on the IMDb.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that. Unless IMDb is wrong, which it might be. Anyway, So this movie, Rosamund Pike. You guys know her? Have you seen her in
She's been in a few things.
Gone Girl?
Yeah,
Which was a
Gone Girl.
great movie.
She was I first noticed her in James Bond, the Pierce Brosnan with Halle Berry.
Oh yeah.
I
What was
don't
that?
remember which one that was.
I know what you're talking about.
It wasn't good, but I remember. Oh, Die Another Day. Whew.
Die Another Day. Yeah,
Die
that's it.
Another Day.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she's in it. Peter Dinklage, he's kind of the other main character, and then the elderly woman in the movie, who I recognize her
Yes.
off the bat as the mom from Lost Boys.
And she was also in the 007. She was also in 007. Didn't she play the Brit?
She wasn't Moneypenny.
No.
No.
Okay.
That wasn't her. But
You're
she was.
Are you thinking of
Yes, I am.
Dame
Yes,
Judy?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But this lady, Diane Weist, I guess is her name. I didn't really know her. But she's the mom on Lost Boys. I recognize her right off the bat from that. So anyway,
Wow.
we have Rosamund Pike. And I didn't even realize this until afterwards because I was like, man, she should have won an award for this. Well, she did win an award for this. She won a
Really?
Golden Globe for Best Actress.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's set up this movie. So she kind of works for kind of like the state, right? She, like, if you're an elderly person and you're kind of at the time of life where you can't really take care of yourself and you have a lot of things going on, you might have a lot of medical issues, or you might just kind of have a big estate and nobody to really help take care of things, you can get assigned a person to kind of be like your executor. Well, that's what she's doing in the movie. She's Marla Grayson. She kind of takes it to the next level though, and kind of becomes, a little bit on the crooked side.
Yep.
There's like these doctors who will find these vulnerable elderly people and almost kind of like sell the information to this Marla Grayson. She takes the elderly person, like, and all their assets, like, they go through the court system. They realize this lady might be living alone, or this man might be living alone, no immediate family, or the family doesn't have anything to do with them. And then she kind of gets a percentage of their assets to kind of be their executor and kind of take care of them. But really what she's doing is just kind of slinging them into like an old folks facility, which she's kind of has the managers, on payroll also.
Yeah, on the take.
And she's kind of deciding all the shots, and so that's kind of the racket that she has going on, and it's working great. She's making money hand over fist. She's got properties all over the place. She's sending all these elderly people to these homes and getting all their money, until she runs into this Jennifer Peterson, the mom from Lost Boys, the elderly lady, right? So she thinks it's just another one of those cases, right? Well, come to find out, the twist of the movie is this elderly lady, she is involved with the Russian mafia, who is Peter Dinklage. He's kind of in the Russian mafia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of like a middle woman.
Well, he's her son, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is like a middleman of these jewels, and Peter Dinklage is like funneling the jewels through her, and like, they're probably like having somebody drop them off at her house, and then like Peter Dinklage meets her like once a month or once every couple of weeks, and then picks it up and then, resells the jewels, right? Well, Marla Grayson doesn't know all this, or she probably wouldn't have started messing with her, but then sends the lady to the old folks' home, goes through her assets, finds a safety deposit box, finds some jewels, and then Peter Dinklage is like a no-nonsense kind of guy and starts sending out some muscle, and then it kind of goes downhill from there. Do we want to spoil the movie?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. If you guys haven't watched it, maybe if you're listening to us live, maybe mute it for a few minutes. If you're listening to us pre-recorded, maybe pause it and go watch the movie or skip ahead.
Yeah, but that's kind of the setup. But then kind of what happens is, long story short, through a lot of battling and some really gnarly fighting, is that she ends up kind of going into they have a battle royale, right? Like where Peter Dinklage's character like really messes her up. she really messes him up. There's just like a back and forth. Like, you wouldn't think that this lady was so tough, right? But she is. She's just like, she can't be beat. She's just, every time they knock her down, right? No, Matt?
No, I was just gonna add, it's she even said it, and that's, I have a thought about that I'll bring up in a minute. But she did say at some point, I don't like to lose, and
Sure.
she doesn't give up. So it's not that she's super tough, I guess, but she will not back down to anyone.
Well, I would say that is an attribute of being tough, is not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's not. Well, yeah, we'll get back to that. I want to come back to that in a minute. Yeah.
But anyway, so pretty much what happens at the end, they almost come to a truce. Pretty much a truce, right? Like, they have some give and take. They both beat each other up. They have a truce. They set up a company where they work together. He realizes that the scheme that she has going on is just a huge moneymaker. Like, he says at one part, like, we're not talking millions of dollars in jewels here. We're talking billions of dollars in, like, this big corporation that they could make. So she kind of agrees, because she's, she admits that she's kind of starved for money and power, and with money comes power, and she's kind of into all that. So then they kind of form their little duo, but then at the very end, she kind of gets killed by somebody that she met in the beginning, that she kind of screwed over and took their mama away from them. And then this guy comes out of nowhere and takes her out and kills her, which I thought was kind of a cool ending. But what did you guys think of the movie?
I'll go first. I didn't want to jump in. I was engrossed with it from almost the word go. I mean, when I first saw this on Netflix, I added it to my list or my stuff, whatever they call it. I was like, yeah, I'll get to that at some point. It looks interesting enough. But when you picked it for last week, I watched it last night, and I mean, I was just stuck on it, like from almost immediately.
Yeah.
One thing that I mentioned, I think last time when you picked it, I think I said don't watch the trailer, because the trailer gives away more of the plot than I wish it would have. So what I was originally wishing was that I thought originally that it was just going to be a movie about Marla Grayson's character, how she screws over old people.
Yes.
And that's it. Yep. And then when I watched the trailer, I was like, wait a minute, what's Peter Dinklage, and why does he look like a mob boss? Why does he ever tied to a chair?
Yep.
I don't want to know any of this. And I thought that was kind of like a big twist in the movie. Yeah. But after watching it, I thought, if they had, that's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
So if they hadn't shown any of that stuff, there would hardly have been a trailer, because the movie is more about her dealing with the Russian mafia than it is screwing over old people.
Sure.
Right. One thing I thought was pretty interesting about this movie is there's no good guy. Like there is a protagonist, but a protagonist isn't always the good guy. There's nobody that you're actually rooting for.
You're rooting for the old people. I'm rooting for the old people, is what I was rooting for.
Well, I guess, but I mean, like, they can't do anything. I mean, they're your main characters. You're not rooting for either of your main characters. You've got Marla Grayson and her crew that are screwing over old people. You've got Peter Dinklage and his Russian mafia. You're not rooting for them either. Right. And I thought that was really interesting how, I don't want anybody to win. I don't want anybody to come out on top, because they're all bad guys.
Yes.
But I did think one thought I had was, this is basically, I felt like I watched 3 different movies. Like the first half hour were her screwing over old people. I really liked the montage of when they got Jennifer. What was her last name? Jennifer. Jennifer Peterson. Yeah, she was she's the main old woman. They got her in the nursing home, and then there was a montage with some great. The whole movie had some great music, I thought.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got her in the old folks' home, and then they just started going through her house, selling off stuff, repainting, and all this stuff.
Crazy.
You get to that part, so that's like the first movie, and then the next movie is all about the Russian mafia and what they're trying to do to get his mom back. How they're doing all this stuff. That was the next, because there was a whole big section in the middle where Rosamund Pike and her group wasn't even in it. It was all Peter Dinklage and the Russian mafia and those guys. So that was the second movie. And then the third movie is after the Russian mafia tries to kill Rosamund Pike and her girlfriend, and they survive, then it almost becomes like a super spy movie where they're like, I've got a plan, we're gonna follow you and I'm gonna drive here, I'm gonna tase the driver and then I'm gonna shoot the other guy with a taser gun, I'm gonna steal the gun and inject Peter Dinklage with some kind of knockout something. Like, wait a minute, hold on, this is getting a little bit too over the top, because like, where do you even get all this stuff? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did like it all, in the end, but for like a few minutes, I was like, wait a minute, this is turned into like a heist movie where they're trying to kidnap a guy and blackmail him and all this stuff. And that I thought that felt a little out of place. But then you get to the end, I thought it was cool after she sends Peter Dinklage to the hospital. She says, I now own you in the same way I own all these old people. The court has designated me your guardian. I own you. He says, let's start a business together. And she goes for it. I thought that was really interesting. But I did feel like in the last couple minutes, I was like, I feel like the other shoe's about to drop. I feel like something is going to happen because she is getting away with everything. And then one of the guys from the very beginning, whose mother he did this to, he shoots her and kills her. And I thought that was really interesting, because it all comes back around to the beginning of the movie where this other guy who wasn't even in it for very long just shoots her and kills her, and she got her comeuppance, So I thought, but I was engrossed with the whole thing. I thought it was super interesting, and it's crazy. I did look it up. This is not based on a true story, but it is based on true things that can happen. So like people like Rosamund Pike and these Guardians can do this. And it's crazy that anybody can any doctor can say, yeah, this person can't take care of themselves, send them to an old folks home. And especially when they have kids, like the one old woman at the beginning had a son. He said, I want to see my mom. And they wouldn't. So it's crazy to think that they can do that. But it was great. It was great.
I definitely turned this on and kind of laid down on the couch and thought I was going to, well, if I doze off, it'll be okay. I really wasn't expecting a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
I could not doze off. It was just totally, even though like it or not, I got a sense of this glaring overtone that they repeated several times about, there's people in this world. You're going to be a lion or you're going to be a lamb. Are you going to be a winner or are you going to be a loser? And I kind of, it just kind of, under the whole movie itself, it's like it's okay to take advantage of people. I didn't really love that kind of tone, because it's the same kind of mentality when you're in sports or anything else. It's like you're either going to be win or you're going to lose. You're going to you have it or you don't, that sort of thing. There's always going to be people that are going to let other people take advantage of you. But the whole movie itself was, you're right, Matt. There was no good guy. It was, you were kind of rooting for her to fail in the beginning. It's like, oh, she's going to get what she deserves when he gets a hold of her. And then it comes back around to where she gets out of it. But, in the very first scene of the movie, they portray the son who ends up killing her in the end as this raving lunatic, just as one of these sons. Mm-hmm. And I kind of thought, they kind of frame it up, and we've all got elderly people in our lives, and we all know that people go crazy about their inheritance, and I've got my father-in-law lives with me now, and he's over 80, and he's just wonderful, and I'd hate to see anybody try to take advantage of him or anything like that, but you got to be involved in a lot of people that don't have people around them that can take care of them or understand what doctors are saying or what doctors are doing, or if they're coherent, or if you know the legal terms that to keep them out of places like that and keep that from happening to them. But overall, it was great. I thought the movie was shot very well. I kind of got some tones about kind of like, she said a couple of times, she's been threatened by men, and I kind of got the I'm fighting against men kind of tone a little bit. Is in some places around that, but other than that, it was a crazy twist to the movie that she ended up getting shot at the end, when it looked like she was going to be scot-free to do all this. But there was no good guy. There really wasn't. It was a very, very interesting movie, and if we haven't spoiled it for you, you give it a watch. It's well worth watching.
A couple of scenes I really liked. The one was like where it showed her just in her room, in her office, with all the pictures of the elderly people, and like putting little stickers up on there, like kind of like marking off, like, all right, well, we've sold this house and we've got this, you know what I mean? Just like they're just like a commodity, you know?
I do wish that they had explained what the stickers were. She put like 3 stickers, you know, 2 greens and a red, or 3 greens or whatever. I wanted to understand. That may have been too much.
I kind of thought that
unnecessary, but I wanted to know what that was.
It showed like where they had sold a house or something, and then they showed like her put like a little sticker. I kind of thought it meant like kind of like what assets they still have.
Yeah, maybe like your house, your money, and something else.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they're just like a commodity. You know what I mean? They're just like these, and then you see all these probably 30 or 40 just faces of these old sweet people, you know, who are just
but then at the end when she's running the corporation that does this, and you know, there's thousands of faces in front of her. You know, that was really nice.
It even showed them training guardians under her program. You know, it's like you could go be trained to be a guardian.
Right.
It's kind of like a pyramid scheme. I guess everything kind of feeds up to her, and he was. But it was kind of interesting how Peter Dinklage's character was like. I mean, he wasn't Russian, obviously, and he didn't even speak in his accent. He was speaking, you know, in a regular, good old American accent. Where you know,
well, he is American.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Game of Thrones was an accent.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know that. I thought it was. But anyway, he did a good job, and a really good job. I thought there would be going to be a bigger twist of like she rescued him, and that's how or something like that, because him being, you know, a little person or whatever. I didn't think that anything would have come about that. But yeah, he was good in it. I enjoyed it.
I like when she said, when she was the elderly woman, Peter Dinklage's mom, was sitting there, and Rosamund was trying to figure out who Peter Dinklage was. You know, it was like, who is he? Like who is? And then she's like, he's coming for you.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you're messing with. I love those kind of scenes, like where you can. But man, I tell you what, talk about a strong female role. Like she just nothing really fazed her through the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like anytime she got beat down, she just came back stronger and more pissed off.
She is a good female role model in that she doesn't give up. She's not that great of a role model in that she, you know, defrauds old people. You know, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Anyway, I Care a Lot on Netflix. Good to go right now. We all give it a thumbs up. It was a great,
sure. It was really good.
Great pick. Never expected it. I love that. I think even with Boss Level, like we've had Pete mentioned, we had a couple bangers back to back. I love these movies I go into with a perception and don't want to read up on them, or don't, you know, and they totally just go the opposite direction of what I thought it was going to be. I love it. It's awesome. So for next week, guys, I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. Okay. I'm going to pick something a little lighter. I've been wanting to see this since I saw the trailer and since it came out over Christmas, but let's go ahead and watch Mulan on Disney Plus, the live action movie.
Live action
movie. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it. I saw the trailer back when it came out. It was a big deal over Christmas that it was going to be $30 and you could watch it. And it looked really good. From the trailer. And if no one has seen it, we'll watch that for next week and kind of see what we think. But it'll kind of go out of the, you know, I guess we'll lighten it up.
It's like fully released on Disney Plus now, right? Like it's not premium on Disney Plus anymore.
I'm looking at it right now. You just click play. It's ready to go.
Gotcha.
My 8-year-old and Diana watched it probably Friday.
Okay.
So they both seemed to have enjoyed it. So it'll be fun to watch.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, good choice.
All right, moving along. Just stay with Netflix here again, and let's go into our little bit of sports segment of the show tonight. I picked this up. I'm a big fan of this series on Netflix, and I love it's a docu-series called Last Chance U. They've done Last Chance U for football on Netflix for several years now. I want to say there is at least, don't quote me on this, 4 or 5 seasons of Last Chance U on football. They do a couple of colleges twice. I want to say 5 seasons, but this year they went to basketball in Last Chance U. And I'm not going to really go in depth about this. I'm just kind of throwing this out there because I watched like 3 episodes of it. Last Chance U is a series about community colleges in college and athletics, and basically if anyone doesn't know what a community college is, it's basically where if you can't make, if you can't go to a Division I or a large school, don't have the grades, don't have the financing or whatever, community college is another way to go. Now, a lot of these larger community colleges have sports programs. A lot of the big universities, the Division I universities, like University of Tennessee, University of Kentucky, University of Cincinnati, when kids are exceptional athletes but don't have the grades or have some other issues that might keep them from going to a Division I college, they go what they call JUCO for a couple of years, get their grades up, graduate from JUCO, and then they come to, then they get re-recruited back to a Division I level team. This follows the East LA Community College out in Los Angeles. Not just like the song from Cheech, Born in East LA. You guys remember that old song from Cheech and Chong?
No.
It was a pretty funny song, but that's what I thought about when they saw it. But East LA Community College, and it's a basketball program, and they've got, like always, they usually pick the colleges that have a lot of aspiring Division I athletes, usually the athletes that were 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school, had issues, have to go there, and they still carry on. They still have these issues, and the series is pretty much about them navigating their way through college, them navigating their way through the curriculum there, and the sporting and the athletics side of it as well, because community college is a huge step down from traditional 4-year colleges as far as like facilities and things like that they have to deal with. But there's been other series with football where they like to follow the guidance counselors or certain teachers as they try to help these kids kind of get through their terms there in the JUCO college. And I'm in 3 episodes in. It's really interesting to see the basketball side of it. There's really not a lot of difference between it and the football. A lot of these kids come from rough backgrounds. A lot of them, have issues that they have to deal with in the series. This East LA Community College, I don't think they even have dorms. I think the kids have to drive to there. But it's a really good watch. Go ahead. 3
or 4 kids living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Sure.
And they pay their whole way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a really good watch. I recommend watching it if you want to know kind of some of the insides of college athletics. It kind of opens your eyes to what some kids have to go through, and playing sports is the one thing. That's all they've known. That's all they've been good at, and that's basically what they're just hanging on to, their last chance. Hence the name, Last Chance U.
Oh no! Is there a Last Chance U marching band?
No.
Okay,
not at all.
Just kidding.
They
not yet.
I like how they at the very beginning I watched the first one. It's like an hour, and Peyton and I watched it together. I think this is going to be one that we watch all the way through because
nice.
he loves basketball, and he watched the last season of the football Last Chance U. So he kind of likes this, and I like how they are like, when you think of LA, you're thinking Hollywood, palm trees, the beach, but East LA is nothing like that.
No.
It's kind of like the armpit of LA, so you got a lot of rough, tough kids, poor home lives, and this is kind of the community college a lot of them go to. And like you were saying, that like they bring in just some kids, like the one guy who's just an absolute just beast, had like everything in the palm of his hands, right? And then tore his ACL.
Yep.
And then got really out of shape.
Yep.
And
the Oak Hill Academy kid.
Yeah, went to Oak Hill, which is like the premier high school in the whole country. Like Carmelo and like Carmelo Anthony, all these guys like play there. And so he's just got everything set up. He's just. I hope everything looks like it's on track, and then it kind of all falls apart.
We were
watching these guys.
Yeah, we were actually watching, I think, the first episode in the living room, and we kind of had to drag Gavin in there to kind of watch it, and he was in one of his 15-year-old teenager moods or whatever. But I hope Peyton watches kind of how the guy in the show kind of acts on the court and things like that, and tries to, take some. I hope he takes something from a lot of that, and just listening to the coaches, because I think it's a good thing to hear for young kids to kind of hear what coaches and say about kids when they're not there. I mean, when they do certain things. Because this one kid, James is talking about, is he's kind of got a bad attitude on the court. He doesn't get calls, he doesn't get the referees doesn't go his way. He has some issues dealing with his emotions, let's say that, and a lot of that has to be dealt with by the coach, and that's a lot of the show. So,
And I like how the coach even says, he's like, they might be, 6'8", but they're kids.
Yeah.
Even if you're, think back to when you were, 20, 21, 22. Like, you might be legally an adult, but compared to like how you think and act now,
Sure.
like you were a child. You know what I mean? And these kids, they come from just bad situations, and they're trying to live on their own and fend for themselves and go to school, and I mean it's tough. So yeah, I watch it. I always pick out like one or two that I'm just like really rooting for, and then I'll kind of go at the end. Like I don't look it up, because like you could go right now and see like kind of where they are now.
Yeah,
right?
I want to do that. I
wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I always wait,
okay.
and I'll kind of like, I really like the little point guard, who's just like, you can just tell he's just real scrappy.
Yep.
I want to see like what happens to him, but I'm dying to find out. But I'm going to wait and watch every episode, and then I'll kind of look him up online and see what he's doing, and hopefully he's.
Yeah, there was actually a kid.
Yeah, you don't want to spoil the show, man.
Yeah,
no, you don't.
Yeah, there was actually a kid that was on one of the football episodes, one of the defensive linemen that committed to Tennessee, and we got to kind of watch him. He actually got hurt at the beginning of not last year, but the year before, and was out for the year. So, some unfortunate things. I just a lot of times think about how, and sometimes it's just me thinking like, when kids, I'm not inside the kid's head. There's no way I can imagine what they're going through at the time, but you're just one like ACL away to, being done.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you're at that point, everything has to go right for you. And you got to do, I just want to say, just listen to your coach. Just do what he asks you to do, and do your work, and just get out of there, man. You want to hug them sometimes, like, you're so talented, just do it.
Sure.
But anyway, so yeah, Matt, give it a watch if you want to. And anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I really should. I'm not into college basketball at all. Even in my NBA days, I was not into college basketball. But I love behind the scenes stuff, and I love behind the scenes sports stuff. Like, the what was it? The Opie, what was it? The other football one, the NFL, but it was like on HBO.
Oh yeah, Hard Knocks.
Yeah. I watched a season of that. I thought it was fantastic, and I always meant to watch Last Chance U for football. So yeah, I mean, I still like this kind of stuff, even though I'm not into college ball.
Basketball might be 25% of the time. When you say Opie, like.
Yeah, it's
like the actual basketball playing might be 20. It's mostly like the coach, and kids, and just their interaction and trying to make it through.
It's coaching and the kids, and our buddy Dan that listens to to us sometimes. He didn't really love the football one because a lot of the kids, they get special attention, and they need special attention because they're athletes, and that's sometimes what happens, and that can get on your nerves a little bit when they just ignore what the coaches want them to do, or they ignore what their guidance counselor wants them to do. Like one episode back in the football one where the lady, and she reminded me so much of Coach's
Tammy
wife,
Taylor.
Tammy Taylor. The Tammy Taylor, she was a real live Tammy Taylor, swear, but she was a guidance counselor for this East Mississippi Community College, and she told the kid right in front of him, it's like, go into the bookstore, buy you some notebooks, buy you some folders, and buy you some pens, and then get to class. And he comes out with a set of new headphones. Didn't buy anything. He didn't buy anything that she told him to do. He come out with a set of headphones.
Yeah. She's like, where's your notebook? And he's like, oh, what? And then she's like, she grabs like his headphones. She's like, did you just buy these headphones? Like, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, give it a watch. It was great. I was glad to see him do it for basketball, because I love the football one so much. And moving on, let's stay on the basketball theme. And this is something that's, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the intro. It's the NCAA March Madness, baby. You got to get your Dickie V, your Dick Vitale out and get in your voice, because it's tournament time. It's Vicky V, baby. No, So what I'm going to do is we're going to just touch on this just a little bit because I know that we're we don't talk a lot of huge basketball on here, but I'm a college basketball fan. Tennessee's normally known as a football program, but I love college basketball. But I've printed off the bracket. If you don't know it by now, the NCAA tournament is a 64-team tournament. It's played every March. They consider it March Madness, where teams, based on your record or based on if you won your conference championship or your conference tournament, you get bids, and it's probably one of the greatest events in sports if you love basketball or not. Some of the greatest games are played in this tournament. You could have a team that didn't do anything all year, makes its way into the tournament. They're normally called Cinderellas, where they make their run through the tournament. And, we were talking earlier, and we're going to do a little thing on here that we would kind of like for everyone that listens, if you're listening to us, is to, go, I'll put a link in our Discord, and let's all go in and fill out a bracket and maybe post it to our Discord, and let's see if we can get a little competition going. A lot of, if you go to an office or if you go to work, a lot of people's work kind of go in with bracket pools where you just kind of fill out your brackets, and you could know nothing about basketball. I'm looking at Matt. And fill these out just based on.
I don't know anything about college basketball. Okay, or the NBA anymore. But I know basketball though. Come on. Give me some '90s NBA, and I'll hang with you all day.
And we'll fill one out. But real quickly, I'm going to go run through the teams real quick, and I want your guys' just quick opinion. Just give me a quick snap about who you think will win this game. And we'll start in the West region, which is the number one overall seed. The number one overall seed is supposedly the best team in the country, and they are the unbeaten Gonzaga Bulldogs, the Zags. They're going to face either the winner of Norfolk State and Appy State. And I think we're all going to take, Gonzaga in that one.
I would. Yeah. Just my expert analysis.
Gonzaga is just, and this happens every year because, they play what in the WCC, the West Coast Conference, I think. It's like a super lame conference where they're playing against just like pretty much like Division II schools almost all year.
And they're saying this year is the year for Gonzaga to show everyone that they're not just playing in a lane conference. Like they need a Final Four run or a championship out of it. They've set this West region up for Gonzaga. There's really not a lot of powerhouse teams. I mean, your number 3 seed is Kansas in this one, and they're not the Kansas. They're not that great. Going to the next one in the bracket, this is who Gonzaga will play the winner of, Oklahoma and Missouri. Now, I've got some history with Missouri. They're coached by Conzo Martin, who used to coach at Tennessee, 2 coaches before the coach we have now. He's got the Missouri Tigers playing pretty well. They're playing Oklahoma, which is a Big 12, middle-of-the-road Big 12 team this year. What do you think, guys, Missouri or Oklahoma?
Well, it's a battle 8 and 9, so, I mean, they're similar resumes usually, so it's kind of a toss-up. Mm-hmm. I would probably go Oklahoma, but, I mean, it's a toss-up.
Yeah. The next one on the bracket in the South is Creighton and the University of California, Santa Barbara. And Creighton's supposed to be a really good team this year. And I think that they're going to win that one.
Usually what I do when it comes to like teams like this where, I haven't watched Creighton or UC Santa Barbara play this year, I don't get too tricked into the records. I kind of go by conference. So Creighton got a far superior conference.
Absolutely.
That's usually how I pick them whenever it's 2 teams I'm not super sure about.
And the next one, Pete, is Virginia, the number 4 seed, versus your Ohio Bobcats.
Well, I wouldn't say mine, but yeah, I didn't even know that they had made the tournament. That's how little I was following them. But so they're in the MAC, right? So they apparently I'm not sure if they even won the MAC.
They're the 13th seed in this region. So
they're cannon fodder. Just go ahead and
put Virginia in there because Virginia's good. I mean, Virginia, what was it that year before last won it all, correct?
Yeah, Virginia's loaded.
Year before COVID, yeah.
Virginia could win it all.
Yep. Next one, USC versus the winner of, I think that's Wichita State and Drake. So, USC in the pack.
Well, so this is one of those weird things because Wichita State won the American Athletic Conference.
They did.
Regular season. but got no love because their out of conference schedule was so bad, and like their RPI was horrible, so they got zero respect. And since they went into the conference tournament, the number 1 seed, but my Cincinnati Bearcats bounced them out.
Yes.
So they didn't get a chance to.
How did
really
they look in that game against Cincinnati?
Horrible. If we beat them, it looked horrible because we had a horrible team this year, and we smacked them up pretty good. So yeah,
okay,
I would say see all day long.
Gotcha. Next one is a normal blue blood of the tournament. Kansas is a 3 seed, which I think is a high seed because they Tennessee this year in the SEC Big 12 challenge and whooped the crap out of them. So I'm not loving Kansas this year, and they're playing Eastern Washington. If it wasn't such a 14 seed Eastern Washington, I wouldn't be hesitant to pick against Kansas, but I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't name a guy on Eastern Washington.
Right. The next one in that bracket, this is the bottom tier, is number 7 Oregon against number 10 VCU. That's a toss-up. I don't know how Oregon's played this year. I know it looks like VCU has been all right. That's a toss-up. We're going to see. Look that one up.
Yeah, it'd be a tough one.
Next one, Iowa, number 2 seed, out of the Big Ten, of course, versus Grand Canyon, number 15. Matt, you ever heard of Grand Canyon University?
Yeah, it's that school down in a hole.
Okay. But can they play basketball at the 15th seed? No, I'm going with Iowa there. Big Ten is tough.
Yeah, Iowa's my pick to come out of this side of the bracket.
What?
Well, yeah, dude. Have you ever heard of this guy named Luka Garza?
Yeah,
you ever heard of that?
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's like probably the best player in the country. Yeah,
pretty good.
So
all right,
he's a monster, and he's going to will them to victory. I got them coming out of the West.
Yep. Moving down, we're going to we'll talk about the East. Number 1, Michigan, the number 1 seed versus the winner of a play-in game, which is Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern. So we'll take Michigan there, of course.
Yeah.
Now the next bracket is, just being in the SEC is LSU versus St. Bonaventure. So, but LSU is one of these teams. They got hot, got beat by Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
They have a loaded, talented roster and could get really hot. They could go to the Final Four or they could get bounced. But I'm going to take LSU just based on talent alone in this one.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Okay. Colorado versus Georgetown.
Georgetown is kind of the opposite. So Georgetown was crappy all year and then won the Big East tournament. So that's and Patrick Ewing is their coach now. Did you know?
Yes.
Patrick Ewing
yes.
Back at Georgetown?
Well, I looked into Georgetown when they had Matt McClung, remember? And he was and he was talked about going to transferring to Tennessee, and then he's went to Texas Tech. Did they even make the tournament? Yeah,
they're in there.
Okay. A lot of people say if he would have went to Tennessee, he could have been the scorer we need, but who knows?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Let's see. Florida State and UNC Greensboro. Florida State.
Yeah.
BYU versus the winner of here it is. Michigan State and UCLA is a play-in game.
Yeah, this is a crazy one.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a really good game. That Michigan State and UCLA. UCLA, they kind of they should have been a higher seed. Like they kind of went on a losing streak. I think they lost like 4 or 5 in a row. That's where Mick Cronin went to, the coach of the Bearcats.
Yep.
Went out to UCLA, and they're loaded like with 4-star and 5-star guys. But they had like a ton of COVID issues, just like my Bearcats. They had guys opting out, taking mental health breaks, throughout the season and all this stuff. So they're, playing with 8 or 9 guys. And so, yeah, I would say, I don't know much about BYU, but I would say either one of those other 2 bigger conference teams should be able to beat them.
Okay. I'll go speed through this a little bit more. We'll touch on some of the highlights. So we're going to keep going down the Eastern bracket. Texas, Albertine Christian, Connecticut versus Maryland, Alabama versus Iona. That is Rick Pitino at Iona, if you didn't know that. versus Alabama, which Alabama's hot now coming out of the SEC. Flipping over to the South bracket, a lot of some people say the South bracket is the bracket of death. So listen to some of these. That's a lot of times when you do group stages, if there's a bracket stage that's pretty loaded, a lot of people call it the group of death because there's a lot of good teams in it. Number 1 seat in the South is Baylor. They play Hartford. Then you got North Carolina and Wisconsin, so that's going to be a good game. North Carolina versus a Big Ten Wisconsin. Then you got Villanova and Winthrop. Now Winthrop's no pushover either this year. Purdue and North Texas, and gosh, Purdue, another Big Ten team that's strong. Texas Tech, Utah State, Arkansas, a strong SEC team, is playing that Colgate team.
They have clean teeth, though.
Yeah, Colgate, though. Yeah. There's another sneaky good mid-major teams. You get these mid-major teams with good guard play that can shoot the ball, they can bounce you in the first round. Happens all the time. Happens every year.
Every year.
Number 7 Florida versus Virginia Tech. I'm going to take Virginia Tech over them all day because I don't like the Gators. And then Ohio State versus Oral Roberts. There's another one. You got Colgate and you got Oral Roberts, Matt, in the same bracket.
You got all kinds of good hygiene in this. I like these guys.
All right, and the last side is the Midwest, and this is our boy. If he's listening, we got a couple of guys that live in Illinois. This is the University of the Fighting Illini. U of I, they're the number 1 seed. They were a beast of a team. I watched them play Ohio State today. They're probably going to be my pick.
Do you remember that? It was probably just like a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, when we were talking about Illinois. Yeah. And I said that they were probably the best team in the country.
Yeah, and they're going to be in Tennessee's bracket. They play Drexel, so that's an Illinois win. Loyola
not going to work here anyway.
Not going to work here. Can't pronounce this. Loyola Chicago versus Virginia Tech, or sorry, Georgia Tech. And then you got my boys, the Tennessee Volunteers. They drew Oregon State, which is a really good 5-12 draw. Oregon State kind of got hot in their tournament. Hopefully we can D them up, and they don't have a lot of good. They have one little pretty good guard that we got one of our guys out because he got elbowed in the Florida game, fractured his jaw. Did you see that elbow, James? That Florida,
yeah, dude, I saw your dude on the bench. It looked like he got hit by Tyson. Like
his eye. He's got a skull. It fractured his face.
Dude, I felt so bad. That was just a horrible foul.
Yep.
That dude for Florida should be suspended for the tournament.
That's what we're saying. Oklahoma State, Liberty. Then we got San Diego State, Syracuse.
Wait, real quick. The guy have you watched that Kay Cunningham play for Oklahoma State?
Yeah, he's tough.
Probably like a top 3 NBA pick. He's a big guard. He just can do it all. So they're kind of sneaky. You might be playing him in the second round.
Yeah, we're not trying not to look ahead, but yeah, we've already looked ahead to who's going to D him up. San Diego State, Syracuse. I don't know how Syracuse has been this year. West Virginia, Huggy Bear.
Yeah. Huggins in there.
Playing Morehead State, Clemson, Rutgers, and then Houston, Cleveland State. So you think it'll be Houston, Illinois trying to come out of that Midwest bracket?
I've watched Houston play a ton this year because they're in my Bearcats conference, and they are the real deal, but they're like guard heavy. Like they don't have
Illinois got so much size.
So I don't see Houston. I mean, if Houston's hitting, they'll score 90 points on anybody out there. You know what I mean? Like you can't cover all their guards because they're all just incredible scorers. But you're going to run into a team that really slows it down, and that's where Houston will have a problem. Get it?
Got it.
But I don't know. Houston's good, but I don't see them beating some of these big physical teams. Even like a Tennessee. Tennessee's got like Pawn and those guys. They'll just push them around.
So what we're going to do, guys, that's the bracket. So I'll put a link in the Discord here of a printable bracket. That's what I'm looking at. If you can find a fillable one online so you don't have to print it out and scan it in or whatever, just go ahead and fill that out, take a screenshot of it, and we'll post it in the Discord. And hey, we'll keep up with it. If you post us a picture in the bracket Discord, we'll try to keep up with the points and follow along. And as we go along, we can
even start another channel in the Discord for
Absolutely. I would love to get everyone's input. I would love to get everyone involved, and we'll touch on it each week. We won't get into it this in depth, but we'll keep up with it.
Kind of sad that the UK Wildcats didn't make it this year.
Thank you for reminding me, and neither did the Duke Blue Devils. So everyone out there listening, I'm sorry if you're a Duke or a UK fan. We're not. So this is the first tournament since 1976 that neither Kentucky or Duke have been in the tournament. So it's kind of refreshing that all of that attention doesn't go to either one of those teams, and we don't have it can be a little bit.
Go on Facebook and make some real smart Alec comment about that, but since my Bearcats didn't make it this year either, I kind of got to stay quiet.
That sucks for you. I should really get in there and hammer it, but I don't want to jinx this. I'm not that way. I let it. I do the talking after the trophies are presented, and that's the way I stick it out. But anyway, that concludes our sports ball section of the podcast. Let's get into something a little bit more important, like Marvel Studios Assemble. Matt, what you got?
Well, this was just like a second. Like, we talked about WandaVision every week, and it ended last week. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts this coming Friday, which means there's a gap in between those two shows. So on Disney Plus, they filled that gap this past Friday with a 1-hour documentary called Marvel Studios Assembled. And I want to say that this is going to be not like a weekly series, but every time, like when Falcon and Winter Soldier finishes, I think they're going to have another episode of Assembled talking about the making of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So the first episode, the only episode that exists for this Marvel Studios Assembled right now, is a 1-hour documentary, sort of behind the scenes thing about the making of WandaVision. And I thought it was really interesting. I watched it today. They actually spent a good amount of time, probably the first half, talking about just the first two episodes, the black and white sitcom documentary episodes, and just how much painstaking detail they went into in order to film those episodes. They used the same style cameras, the same style lighting. They had a live studio audience that were dressed in 50s and 60s garb. They talked with Dick Van Dyke to get his input on stuff. Ooh. So, they talked about just those two episodes, and then they went ahead and talked about the rest of the series too, about how they, then they get into the more like MCU type stuff. But long story short, it's just a really interesting, 1-hour thing about how they made WandaVision from the black and white things all the way to the big CGI laden end battle, and and everything in between. They talked about, they touched on Evan Peters as Pietro, and all that stuff. It was just really interesting. So if you liked WandaVision, this is a good supplement to that.
Did we watch some kind of documentary about Mandalorian at the end after it was all over?
Yes.
Okay. So is this a Disney thing?
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
Well, no, I understand, but is Disney going to do this with all of their series? Like,
I don't know.
Like, they did it.
I'm assuming. Like I said, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is the next one. Starts this Friday.
Sure.
It'll run for 6 weeks. I'm assuming there will be one of these after that, and then the Loki series is after that, and then I'm assuming there'll be one of those after that. So I might be wrong, but it seems like they have a pretty good platform placeholder for.
Wait, go over those series again. So Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What's after that?
The Loki.
Good.
Loki TV series.
Good. Go
Is
ahead.
it the same guy that played in the movie?
Same. Ooh,
yeah.
Yes. Who's after that?
Yep.
What's after that?
Is he not dead? How did he die? Loki didn't die?
Loki died in at the beginning of Infinity War. Thanos killed him. Yeah. But then, if you remember in Endgame, when they did all the time travel stuff, they time traveled back to 2012, the Battle of New York.
Oh, yeah.
And after they took Loki into custody, after the end of that battle, there was another kerfuffle down in the lobby of the Avengers Tower, and they dropped the Tesseract.
Yeah. I remember
so the 2012 version of Loki took that Tesseract and vanished.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting because this series is going to follow Loki from 2012, not having known. He won't unless they, explain it away somehow. He won't have known the things that happened in Thor: The Dark World or Avengers: Infinity War or Thor: Ragnarok or any of that stuff, because it's Loki as he was right at the end of the 2012 Avengers. He'll be the one going through this adventure, and I'm not sure how many episodes that one is. But yeah, so it's going to be super cool, you know. But yeah, WandaVision, I thought it was really interesting. How they talked about how they had to paint Paul Bettany's face. You know, he's Vision, so his face is usually like reddish pink. For the black and white episodes, they had to paint it blue.
Oh wow!
You know, because the reddish pinkish color was too dark. And they talked about how they actually, you know, sitcoms back then, the women would wear blue lipstick to make it look like black and white, like red would look if it were black and white. So just all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was really, really interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good follow up to the series.
Any Easter eggs? Did they reveal any Easter eggs you didn't know about or anything like that?
No, they just talked about how they pulled from a lot of source material, and you know, Elizabeth Olsen talked about how she enjoyed wearing the classic costume in the Halloween episode. She said when she first was brought into the MCU, she was hoping she wouldn't have to wear that, but now that they've come this far, she was glad to do it because she said, you know, they you know, she you know, the character sort of earned that and earned the right to wear that, so it was pretty cool.
So we will be talking about Falcon Winter Soldier episode 1 probably next week, right?
Yeah, I mean, I won't put you guys through having to watch all of them, but I'm gonna watch the first because it comes on this coming Friday on the whatever day that is, 18th or 19th.
What should folks watch to catch up to that if they don't know?
If you want to watch Winter Soldier and you haven't seen a lot of the MCU stuff, I would at least watch Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and Captain America: Civil War. Watch at least those 3.
Okay.
And that will get you up to speed.
Nice. Awesome. All right, moving on. Amazon, Eero. Matt, is this you?
Yeah, did you skip one?
Yes, I did. I skipped Pete's NFT non-fungible token.
Okay. I'm going to nerd out just for a minute, okay?
Here we go.
Cuz this is one of those moments in your life. This is a Doc Brown moment.
Where you slip and fall on the toilet and you have a vision of the flexipath.
If someone could have had this conversation with me 6 months ago, I would have really appreciated it. But nobody was there for me. So I'm going to be here for you guys for this, okay?
Okay.
So you guys know the gist of what like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is, right? Like it's
fake money, yep.
The gist.
It's a decentralized currency. So it means that like, you know, everybody puts their money into the bank, you know, then your PNC or your Bank of America, they're holding all your money, right? Well, Bitcoin is on a decentralized blockchain, which means that it's not held by any one individual. It's held by tens of hundreds of thousands of computers that are all running the blockchain. So every transaction is verified over and over and over and over and over again. That's how it's you know, people will say, well, you know, if I have a Bitcoin and I buy something, how do they know that I bought it? Like, how can I just say like, no, I didn't buy that, I want my Bitcoin back? Well, like as soon as you make a transaction on a blockchain, once it's processed and verified through everybody's computers, it's running or mining. You've heard of mining Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what mining Bitcoin is. It's people they're actually running the protocol to process all the transactions. So once you get a certain amount of transactions, you get a percentage of a Bitcoin. So what I want to talk about is basically off of that is called a non-fungible token. So a non-fungible token, think of a fungible token as a Bitcoin. A fungible token is something that's identical. Like if I have a Bitcoin and Matt has a Bitcoin and Opie has a Bitcoin, those are fungible tokens because they're all identical. You can use them, they're interchangeable, you can use them the same way. A non-fungible token is something that's unique on a blockchain. So say we're going to use this because I thought it might be a good thing to use since Matt is into comic books and superheroes, is there are some comic book artists and like Jay Lee, you know who Jay Lee is, Matt?
Yeah.
And Jim Lee, like these guys, they created like 3D augmented reality models of Batman and some of the, like the DC guys, right? And these are non-fungible tokens, meaning that they decided, hey, let's make let's make some of these augmented reality, like a Pokemon Go, like where you could have it on your phone and like you could see it in your room or in your house or display it, on a website or something. But let's make like a certain amount of them. They'll be like serial number, like 1 through 200, right? So there's some scarcity. So like if you buy a non-fungible token Batman figure, we're talking digital. So sometimes it's hard for people to wrap around their mind on like, well, if I can't hold it in my hand, it's not real. Like I don't really own it, like it. But as we're moving forward, things are just going more digital. You're not going to, there'll be a time where you don't, it's almost there, like with like books and things like that. You know what I mean? Like you get books on, what's the thing called? Like where you download all the books? The Kindle.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of comic books digitally.
So anyway, that's basically what a non-fungible token is. It's an item that can be set on a blockchain and it's unique and it kind of creates scarcity and it's collectible. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about because there are a lot of like these cryptocurrencies that it'll be like a certain cryptocurrency for a non-fungible token, like these DC ones that have come out. There's one called Ecomi. It's ECOMI is the name of the blockchain, and the OMI token, OMI.
Not to be confused with E. coli, which will kill you.
And so if you buy, so just like you would buy Bitcoin, you could buy these OMI tokens, right?
Okay.
And they're cheaper when there's a bunch, it's cheap. But they've created this thing where they have this thing called token burn, where every time there's a transaction for a non-fungible token, then part of the supply is used up of the token. Okay. So that over the course of years, like a token that might be worth 4 cents now, in a year or two, that token might be worth like $1 or $2 or $3. Just depends on how this takes off. But anyway, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is this Ecomi. They've signed some deals like with the NFL and with supposedly there's talks of Pokemon being involved. So future NFTs with Pokemon, how like all that stuff takes off. So that's just kind of what I want to talk about. It's kind of hard to grasp.
It is. And one question, let me ask you this, and I hear this all the time. Of course, we all kind of like collecting video games, and we had this discussion a couple episodes ago about buying digitally or buying physically, and you're saying people have a hard time not holding something that they've purchased when you've bought it digitally. Right. Now, these non-fungible tokens, of course, are all digital. How do you hold on to, like, if we buy digital games, then all of a sudden Microsoft wants to, stop. They control still of the game that we buy digitally, correct? In a roundabout way. So if they wanted to just take the platform down or whatever, you don't have that game, can't play that game ever again. Right. These non-fungible tokens, since they are digitally, how do you hold on to those that they're yours? I mean, is there a certificate of authenticity? Yeah. I mean,
Well, you have there are these digital wallets.
Okay.
Where, like, if you, just like in cryptocurrencies, like with Bitcoin, it's like, well, what if I just wake up one day and somebody deleted all my Bitcoin? Like that's what kind of like a lot of people think. But when you have your digital wallet, you have that blockchain assigned to your wallet. So and I'm not going to say like nothing could ever happen, but I'm sure
it could be the guy who is the programmer guy that has like several $1 million in Bitcoin. He can't remember his password. I mean, that could happen.
But it's like that. With any of these NFTs, you have a wallet, like a digital wallet that keeps it kind of off of like whatever trading platform you're using. But you are right, Opie, about like a lot of people don't realize like if you buy songs on iTunes, like you're just getting a license to play that through iTunes. You don't own that music. Like you can't take that music and do anything with it. You know what I mean? You can't play it on on Twitch or anything.
That same thing has come up with digital comics. Like I have spent literal thousands of dollars over the course of the last 10 years on digital comic books and on Comixology. And Amazon owns Comixology, so it's pretty safe. But if Comixology ever goes kaput, I'm out all those comics that I've ever bought.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting
so it's a risk,
to use it on their platform.
Yep.
But go ahead.
So let me ask you this. So you're collecting these tokens. They're just pieces of digital media, right? So to speak.
Yep.
And you collect them.
It's digital currency that you use to buy fake like statues, like the Batman one you were showing me, right?
Yeah.
So you use digital currency to buy fake digital well, not fake, but the digital statues.
Digital stuff.
But, and you keep digital them in your crypto wallet. How do you show those? Like you were showing me your highlight that you bought for your Steph Curry highlight.
Right. So like the NBA has a deal with this blockchain called Flow, and you can use you can't just put in your credit card number and buy these digital assets. You have to buy them with cryptocurrencies, right? So like I bought a Steph Curry highlight. It's called a moment, and NBA Top Shot is the website, and this is like blown up. Like it's like they had a special.
I thought Top Shot was like cards, right? Didn't there was something going on with that last week, right?
Yeah, they're cards. You open them as packs, but instead of it just being like a 2-dimensional card that you see on the screen, it's actually an actual moment in NBA.
But is it? Oh, so it's not like a card like this. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like a trading card.
No,
it's a trading card that is of a highlight, a moment.
But it's digital. It's not like paper.
Right.
Right. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I know it's hard to grasp.
Well, anyway,
sometimes when I
my point is,
all these movies are on Netflix, and she's like, wait. All those movies are what? They're on Netflix. Well, where am I watching them from? And I'm like, Mom, they're on in the cloud. What cloud? What are you talking about?
It's not cloudy. It's a bright sunny day.
So let me ask you this. So the point of buying these tokens are like buying anything else in the hopes that something will do they increase in value? Can you sell me your Steph Curry token? Yes. Okay. If
there's a marketplace, it's you can go on there and look at the prices of these moments, because the reason why they're valuable is because they're the scarcity of them. Like if you're a Steph Curry collector, right, of Steph Curry cards,
right,
and then you want to collect his digital moments. Well, if there's only 3,000 of them, and you open a $15 pack of, you might get 7 moments in that pack, and they might be like Mason Plumlee, and then might be somebody else, but then you pull a Steph Curry 3-pointer playoff moment, where there's like one of 1,500, that moment might be worth like $300 or $400. So there's a marketplace, and people can put up their moments for sale.
Right. Well, I understand that. And it's hard for me to grasp how right now, because is this super early into it? How long has non-fungible tokens been around? 6 months?
Non-fungible tokens have been around for a while, but the actual application of real world day-to-day usage is pretty much just from around November. It's kind of like when Top Shot, the first one to really go mainstream. And now with this e-commerce stuff with DC, and they have some of the Cartoon Network stuff, like Powerpuff Girls and Adventure Time. There's all kinds of stuff coming out. The UFC signed a deal with that one that I was telling you about with all the European soccer leagues. And what they're doing is they're using their cryptocurrency and their blockchain, where if you were to buy 500 tokens of their cryptocurrency, you could buy things on their marketplace to vote for different things. If you had a player banner you wanted displayed during the actual real game, against Real Madrid, they could do a fan vote.
I'm starting to understand this a little bit more. So basically what you're saying is currencies, we're basically going to start living in World of Warcraft, where you have 1,000 different currencies that we have to go buy different vendors of different factions. And different factions only take certain currencies if you want certain items from those factions.
That's it. When you think about it, I'm buying a token the same token that a guy in Northern Ireland is buying, right? Or the same token that a guy in South Africa is buying. It's a global exchange.
Right.
Like you wouldn't be able to do this if it was just in US dollars, right? Like a lot of the world don't have access to exchanges where they can trade fiat currency.
That's a good point.
All kinds of money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like when, the World Cup comes around and they're talking about doing all this like stuff through blockchain for World Cup, everybody's going to be able to come together with like a global currency and make trades and do things.
Is a good point, because the World Cup is a perfect example, because they won't do it next year for Qatar, but in next year's 2022, 2026, when it comes here, the World Cup's going to be split between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So Matt, we're going to a World Cup game if it comes somewhere like to Nashville or whatever.
Try to keep me away.
But that would be awesome, because you if you have your phones and can verify your crypto wallet with some kind of app and purchase things from anywhere all across the world, it'll be wonderful. Matt, does this not interest you at all, that even comics, something that you would be super interested in, have an artist, instead of like a sell of a cartoon or a cell of a what do you call when a comic artist does something?
I mean, like original artwork,
just original artwork, or a commission. Let's say, for example, from an artist, like digitally. Like if this becomes a thing, that has to interest you, right? Even though you don't believe in the magical world of.
Well, I understand the appeal of blockchain in regards to its globalization. Like, like when I went to Australia, it's like, oh gosh, I got to take, X amount of US dollars. And when I get there, I've got to go to I've got to convert them to Australian dollars and, all that kind of stuff. Like, what's the exchange rate? Am I going to get more money, less money, whatever? Like, so I understand the global appeal of blockchain. NFT, this whole thing where you can buy those Steph Curry. I saw you talking about on my Discord. This what was it? Top Shot. I thought you were talking about like trading cards.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay. Those came out of nowhere. I didn't know those were digital things. The Batman statues that you showed me.
Listen, the kids have been doing this forever with like FIFA is big in Madden with the player cards. I mean, all that stuff, they pay real money to get real cards, digital like stuff to play with on there, and they collect all that and stuff like that. That's kind of what I look at it as. But I'm definitely.
Well, so as far as the NFT stuff goes, the collectible stuff, I mean, you can call me an old man or whatever. I think that's the damn dumbest thing in the world, because it's artificial manufactured demand. So you're saying, oh, well, you've got to go buy this. I keep going back to that Nightwing statue you showed me, Pete, and how it's got AR. And I get that. I can hold up my phone to a shelf and it shows, just like Pokemon Go or whatever. I get that. And that looks, I mean, it's neat. I love how, like Minecraft Earth, we never got into that, but that always seemed pretty cool. But the fact that you're saying there's only so much, that is not true. It's digital. You can make as many of those as you want. Opie, remember when I bought those Marvel cards, those trading cards from 1990 on eBay? There is a finite number of those because they were made 30 years ago. They don't make them anymore. People who had them back then, you threw them away or whatever. There is a finite number. There is no finite anything digital. So how is it possible that why do I need a highlight of Steph Curry when I can just go to YouTube and watch all his highlights?
Well, that's a good point. But
I don't understand what the difference is.
Well, and it's just like I told you. Like I could go online and print off a Mickey Mantle card and print it off and cut it out and put it up on my wall.
Yeah.
And then when people come over, they're like, "Oh, you got a Mickey Mantle card?" I'm like, "Yeah, I printed it off. It's the same exact one that's worth like $50,000." And they're like, "But that's not really the one." It's the same thing. Like that Steph Curry moment that I have, that lives on the blockchain, and that's like one of 1,500. Like that's the only 1,500 that are ever going to be made.
Why?
Like,
why is it only 1,500?
well, it's just like anything else. Like you're right, they do it. It's limited and it's listed as a rare item, just like you might get a statue.
It's fake rarity. It's rare because somebody just decided. Whoever the company is. Well, Matt, we're not gonna make any more.
Matt, of course,
it's no different.
So you don't have any Marvel statues, Green Arrow that are one of 400 and like wrote on it, and it's like, oh, this one is way better than that other one that's one of 9,000. That's processed rarity. That's exactly what you're talking about.
It is.
Right, but because, and I guess
you're just understanding that it's in a digital format and not a physical format. You still can't break down that barrier. That's your problem you're having, because there's no difference in what he's saying and what he said with Marvel statues or shoes or anything that it's one of something, figures.
But I guess, like with a statue, like I'm thinking about, I have a Batman black and white statue, like an actual one, a real one, in my living room, like on my table up there.
Well, I could 3D print that and have the same exact thing.
They're, they only made a limited number of those because the production costs and shipping, distribution, all that stuff. With a digital thing, right-click copy, right-click paste, and you have another one.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's
just like you can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't just like copy and paste your Bitcoin number and then
and actually with Bitcoin, I do kind of understand how. I mean, I don't really understand like the super technical stuff, but I actually do kind of get how Bitcoin is finite, because there's calculations, and eventually you have to run all these calculations to find the serial number for a Bitcoin or something, and there's only so many. Like that was not exactly how it works, but I actually almost kind of understand how if you're talking about regular Bitcoin, none of this other stuff, Bitcoin itself, how that is almost kind of finite. I sort of get that. But like, if you're talking about a digital card with Steph Curry, with a highlight of Steph Curry, why would I pay money for that?
Because
I just don't understand.
I think you're paying for how someone created it. Like someone had to take that, created it, cut it, and put it in,
I guess so,
and display it. Like your Marvel, like your digital figures, an artist or someone did that, and it's one of a kind or one of 400. Like
well, let me, I'm the old man here, so let me ask a different question. And
sure.
So in the future, like, let's say I completely bought into this.
Yeah.
So should I? So you see all these things back here, right?
The answer is yes.
Yep.
Should I go like this?
Yes.
And toss them all, and just have bare ass shelves, nothing on my shelves. And when my friends come over, they're like, "Why do you have all these bare shelves?" And I say, boom.
Yep.
Look at all this cool shit I got. I mean, what? I don't want to look at bare shelves all day long unless I do this. I mean, what? I don't get that.
No, I mean, you don't do that with your Steam library. I mean, I know you have hundreds of video games.
Yeah, I've got like over 400 games in my Steam library.
Right.
Yeah, and I can actually, click those and use them and play games.
Right.
Well,
on my couch.
So a lot of the things that they're coming out with are going to be usable. And like I said, this is like you're getting in like at the very beginning of all this, right?
Yeah.
Like they're going to have like movie implications with this, where if you have a certain NFT, you might be able to see, a post-credit scene that you don't if you don't have it. I mean, there's just all kinds of different things that they're going to do.
Well, yeah,
to incorporate this kind of thing, like this. What I'm telling you about, like with the Steph Curry stuff and like with this Batman statue, this will be elementary compared to what is around in 5, 10, 15 years.
The reason, so you had a good point. I'm hung up with the fact on how it's created, right?
Yeah.
The reason I'm hung up on that aspect of it is that the reason I'm hung up on the how is because once it's made, it takes nothing to duplicate it. And the fact that you say this digital card is rare is garbage. It's it's manufactured. It's fake. It's it's
not fake.
I live in the what I mean is that I didn't mean that. What I mean is the scarcity is fake. It's just somebody saying we're only going to make so much. Oh,
Craig's gone.
See, Craig doesn't like it either. Craig says I'm
Craig's
out. Craig is not a crypto guy.
You just wait until they make a Thanos something where you got to collect all of his fingers and jewels, and Matt will be like, "Oh my god!"
J-Dub in the chat said Matt actually said he likes having people over his house.
Well, that's even worse. Actually, that's a great point. That's even worse. I have no friends. Nobody ever comes over to my house, and yet I'm still supposed to just have empty shelves.
Well, no, we can visit.
They're not just going to be used for collectibles that you would put on a shelf. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, this is just the ground floor. It's going to be all kinds of different stuff.
It's just, I guess, because you start talking about collectibles, and I'm like, okay, now you're in my world. Like I live in the world of comic books, and there's an app called Key Collector, and every week, the people that run that just randomly decide these are the hot comics you want this week because of whatever. And because somebody just decides what's going to be hot, that drives everybody crazy.
Yeah.
So with this NFT stuff, they are just arbitrarily deciding we're only going to make 1,500, and that's it.
Wait,
and then everybody goes out of their mind. I want this.
We're not recording, so quit. You're making.
Well, we're streaming though, right? I mean,
oh yeah, we are.
Yeah,
streaming.
you're fine. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Listen, you've got a good point, but like if someone makes a movie or makes a comic book or makes a toy line and they want to implement the future, which is cryptocurrency, and they want to give people who
now recording,
they want to give people options of digital tokens. Like we're old men. Like we already know our kids don't like action figures. None of our kids like the stuff sitting on these shelves that they like.
I know.
They want Fortnite skins. They want Roblox bucks or things exactly, and that's just adults are getting these. The kids that we're raising are getting older, and they're like, screw a bunch of stuff on the shelf. Give me something I can buy crypto. Give me a highlight.
Right.
Look through
something I can put on my Instagram story.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about.
I agree 1,000,000%. I understand that my kid doesn't want to touch toys at all. He just wants to buy Robux and Fortnite skins, and that's it. So I get it, but I think the biggest thing for me is just the rarity. These things aren't rare. They're not rare. They're only rare because people decide that they're going to make them rare.
You're making your point.
Well, then that makes it rare. If whoever creates it,
and then in that case, it's just you're a bunch of suckers.
Listen,
okay,
something is rare because of and valuable. I'm going to say this is more based on valuable, based on people who want that item. It's not about a limited number. They could make a limited number of a toy back here that no one wants. I mean, and if there's only 100 of them made, that doesn't make it expensive.
Let me say
that drives the demand.
So
Craig.
So they that Seeing Stars is what that set of the NFT that I got the Steph Curry on. There's 1,500 Mason Plumlees. Mason Plumlee is a stiff in the NBA. You can get that Mason Plumlee for probably like $4. Okay, there's 1,500 Steph Currys, but there's a little bit more demand for a Steph Curry NFT than there is a Mason Plumlee, so that drives the demand up. You know what I'm saying? So just like Opie said, it's it's not just how many is released; it's like what they're releasing. So,
but okay. I understand. I'm the one who's wrong in all of this.
You're not wrong.
But and I know that this is where it's going, but I hate it.
Yeah.
Because
that's more, we mock what we don't understand.
Now recording.
We just
Welcome
need to
back,
learn about it. It's just
let me leave it at this. So it's my segment. I have the last word. Thank you.
Okay.
So NBC Morning News, they had a little segment on NFTs, and they were talking about this technology. So usually when something starts hitting on the 7 a.m. weekday news with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb, you kind of know that it's kind of hitting the big time, right? So they had the piece on there talking about the digital artwork that the artist had created that sold for like so many millions of dollars, right? Because it was a one-off. He created this digital piece, and it sold, and so they're talking about it. And then they were kind of saying the exact same things that you're saying, Matt. And then Savannah said, "You know what's going to happen? They're going to replay this segment in like 10 years, and we're going to look like complete dummies, just like we did when we talk about Bitcoin, and just like." Whenever Al was talking, or Brian Gumbel was talking about the @ for the internet, and like saying, "What is the internet? What is this about?"
No. You sent that to me in Discord as an example.
Yeah.
Going from not having the internet to having the internet is a much bigger leap in innovation than just doing a bunch of dumb digital stuff.
I'm just saying that
it's totally different.
When you go back and watch that now, you think, how could they have dismissed it? Just like they dismissed cryptocurrency, just like they dismissed this NFT, just like you're dismissing.
I love being
Next
the middleman between you two. Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
Hey, I'm the host. Let's go. We're moving on. We're moving on. Matt, tell us about your fake internet that you've got in your house.
Well, it's real internet because I'm talking to you guys. Amazon Eero. I just wanted to talk about it. So this is new to me in that I set it up today, but I've had it for like 6 months. So like I've had gigabit internet service in my house for as long as I can remember, at least probably 10 years or more. And it's super fast internet, super affordable. Like, Tokyo of the West, we always say, Chattanooga has like the best, most affordable internet. But I have, for the longest time, I have had an awful, one of these, the Asus, like the routers that look like the spider, but my house is old. My router was down here. I've got a hole upstairs. I had a wireless extender in my living room, and it all just didn't work great. Like the router kept rebooting itself. The extender kept losing connection. So I have this super awesome internet service that I don't even get to really enjoy half the time because I'm always dealing with router problems. So a while back, I bit the bullet and bought the Amazon Eero Wi-Fi mesh system, and it's the thing that has like 3 like little white-looking boxes. They're pretty small, and instead of creating a couple different networks and having an extender and having to say, if I'm downstairs, I'm going to connect to the network from my router, but if I'm upstairs, I need to connect to the network that's being put out by my extender. These things just blanket your house with one single Wi-Fi signal, or one network is what I mean. One single Wi-Fi network. As you move through the house, your device automatically connects to whichever hotspot that it's getting the best signal from. And I've only been using it for a few hours now, but because I just did it this afternoon. But so far, it is amazing. The setup was incredibly easy. You just download the Eero app, and everything works through that. And it's now I just have one network. I originally had 4 networks. I had the upstairs.
What?
I had my router on the floor here does 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz wireless. Right. So those were 2 different networks. Right. And then my range extender upstairs did the same thing, but as the extending network. So I always had to like, if I'm in my bedroom, my phone's not working, let me connect to the upstairs network, the 2.4 gigahertz. No, that's not working. Let me try the 5 gigahertz. Oh, the extender's not working again. Let me try the downstairs network. Now it's all just one. When the app shows me every device that's connected, I can pause that if I want to. I can block them from the network. I can set up profiles to where if I wanted the boy to not be able to, his iPad not work after a certain. Right. And I know that this isn't anything new, but
you have a lot of devices upstairs, and none of those devices are hardwired. You even have computers upstairs, correct?
Yes.
No, nothing's hardwired.
Correct. The only thing that's hardwired is the PC that I'm on right now, and my Xbox One S, and my PS5 over there. Right. And that's it.
So I looked it up when you put it in the show notes just to kind of get a bit of background on it. Yeah, basically, it's basically a Wi-Fi controller with 3 access points, made easy for home use. I mean, if you want,
No, sorry, I was going to say you're right. But it's cool that it gives you 3 devices, and it doesn't matter which one is. You just plug one of them up and then plug up the other 2 later. You know?
Yeah, and normally in a situation like this, if you wanted this kind of range, you would basically have your router, you would have your access point controller, which is a separate piece of equipment. Then you would have to run hard lines to all your access points or quote-unquote hotspots throughout your house. With this... they kind of, you just set these throughout the house, provide power to them, and they all talk to each other and spread the same network out, which, you know, for your situation sounds great. I'm kind of a little bit skeptical. I read up that the max is about 500 meg. It won't do a full gig. So, I mean, I don't think you were even getting a full gig on wireless anyway, were you, with your old router?
Not on wireless.
Not on wireless at all. I don't think you probably would. That'd be amazing if you did, maybe. But anyway, but yeah, I'm glad.
There is a newer model that does Wi-Fi 6, but
have you ever thought about moving your router to your middle floor?
Well, my internet comes into my house right over here.
Oh. He does it.
And there's no way to run it upstairs unless I ran it out into my garage and poked it up through a hole in the floor and all that stuff, which I might do if this starts goofing up again. But yeah, I mean, it's super cool. I mean, I was really impressed with how easy it was to set up. I love having just one network now that I don't have to worry about. Even my Roku in my bedroom, which is at the very back of the house, says it has excellent signal. You know, plus my router would just randomly reboot itself sometimes. And sometimes it would do that. It would reboot itself, and then 20 minutes later, reboot itself, and then 20 minutes later, reboot itself. Which is really fun when I'm trying to work and the boy's trying to do school in the middle of the day. So hopefully,
you know, I have just a little bit of experience with an extender before, and I totally forgot that you have to actually, like, when you set up an extender, it recommends you not name it the same name as your router and everything, because they'll just fight with each other. It will cause all kinds of more problems. So you do have to switch networks when you go upstairs. That's a pain in the butt. But
it was a pain in the butt, and it never worked. And my iPad. Most of my devices, for some reason, stopped working with both different 5 gigahertz signals, and I don't know. It's been a nightmare. My Wi-Fi situation has been a nightmare, and now for the last few hours anyway, has been pretty cool. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well,
if you're looking for a good wireless, I understand, you know, wired is better, and I know that everybody else has wires running all through their house. I don't have that. I don't have a way to do that. So I needed a good Wi-Fi. This house was built 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I needed a better way to have Wi-Fi, and this seems to be okay so far.
And you don't have any friends that work in IT that could help you with stuff like this at all, do you?
No, I don't have any friends. No. Wait, what? There's nothing you can do other than, like I already said, what my other solution, I got this, I was going to go from my router, which sits right there, run it out into my garage.
Yes, I'm not saying it wouldn't take any work. You
get up through the floor. Well, yeah.
I mean,
I'm still not gonna be able to get wired internet in my living room because of the way my house is built.
Not really. That's not true.
Well, I'm not willing to do that. So
pre-COVID, we would have took a trip. Well, we got Dan in the car, got me in the car. We'd throw J-Dub in the car. We'd come down. We get Tim's tools. We'll bring.
J-Dub actually did loan me a whole bunch of networking equipment.
We'll bring some.
I guess I need to get that back.
We'll bring some crimpers. We'll bring some Cat 6.
I did buy 100 feet of white Cat 6 cable that's flat that I was going to run up. I was maybe going to snake it up my stairs at one point right there, but it's flat, so you can't really see it.
I totally forget that you do not like putting like holes in your walls or try to hide any kind of cable. You're not that type of guy, right?
You know what? Maybe if it were some kind of fake ass digital router, then maybe that would be better, right? Maybe I should just do that, right?
I'm just giving you a hard time, Matt.
What is the internet anyway?
What is the internet? Guys, great show. Matt, do you have any pickups?
I just got one. You know, I showed you this isn't them, but the other week I showed you, like, I got these X-Men Marvel Legends guys.
Yes, those are awesome.
They're cool. I really like the Wolverine figure. I got the Jean Grey to go with it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got this today. And there's others in this line that I don't want, so I think I really just want these 3.
What's the Build-A-Figure?
You know what? Oh, it's the Tri-Sentinel, which I don't really know much about. You can sort of see it, that big guy right there.
Okay, I saw the leg.
I've been fidgeting with his arm.
Or an arm and a leg.
But yeah, so I got Jean Grey to go with it. So to go with him. So that's pretty cool. That's it.
Okay, guys. You can hit us up. We'll call it a day. Good show. Appreciate everybody hanging in there. It's kind of a little longer episode than usual, but hey, we had a lot to talk about. Listen, we discuss big topics here. I mean, if someone says at this show that you're not going to get anything from JUCO basketball to cryptocurrency to IT do-it-yourself tips, and we'll sprinkle a little comic book in there if you want to. I don't know where else you're going to get that anywhere else.
Next week we're gonna build a table out of wood from scratch.
Exactly, and then we'll go to food and stuff and grab something anyway. So social media wise, guys, hit us up on Twitter at anything new podcast, Instagram. That's the gram.
No. Twitter is anything new cast.
Sorry, anything new cast. It's posted everywhere. Hopefully, no one listens to me. Instagram. That's on the line. You get anything new podcast. Gmail account. We're still waiting for some emails to come in from you guys. We have some stuff we can send out to you all at anything new podcast. I'm sorry, anything new podcast at gmail.com. YouTube, you can hit our bit.ly. It's bit.ly, bit.ly at anything new YT. And the Discord is bit.ly at / anything new Discord 1. Is that right? Is the 1 supposed to be there?
Yeah, the number 1. Put the number 1
The
on the
number
end of
one
that.
on the
Because
end
I
of that.
screwed up the original one.
Guys, any closing thoughts? You want to see us off with anything?
That's it. Have a great week, guys,
Yeah.
and enjoy some college basketball.
Yeah.
When does that start? 5.
It starts. The play-in games are the 18th, which is, look at our
Thursday.
calendars, is Thursday. So let's try to get those bracket in. I already created the channel in the Discord. I already pinned the printable bracket. But like I said, if you want to fill out a bracket, scan it in, screenshot it, take a picture with your phone, and post it to the Discord. That'd be great if you want to handwrite those in. And we'll seed our chance there. Heck, we may find a couple of something to give away at the end of it, as long as I don't win. I'm just saying. But basically, I think what we're going to do, and we'll kind of detail the rules out a little bit. Really simple. If you get a team that if you pick the right team in the first round, I think we'll go 1 point. If you pick a team right in the second round, we'll go 2 points, and so on and so forth till we get to the end. Make sure you fill in the score if it goes all the way to the national championship game, make sure you put the final score in there as a tiebreaker. And we'll take the final score as the tiebreaker, whoever gets closest there. So, like I said,
I can't wait to beat all you guys. I mean,
you probably will.
Yeah.
You want something hilarious, and this is only because I've watched this Saturday Night Live 100 times. The classic Peyton Manning Saturday Night Live, when he was on for the first time, he goes on. I think it actually might be a spoof of Sports Center. And he plays a NCAA bracketologist where he's picking teams. He's supposed to be the expert, and there's a girl or a lady that's on the show with him that just picks them because of their mascots, and she totally wins. Like, she's like, oh well, a bulldog can beat a turtle, so I'm going to pick the Bulldogs in this one. Go look that up on YouTube. It's classic Peyton Manning. Watch that whole SNL. It's
that's a great one.
It's one of the best. So let's get out of here. We've held you guys too long. Appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, YouTube. See you guys. Thanks, J-Dub and Dan.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of Matt anymore, J-Dub.
No thanks to Craig for
Yeah.
dipping out a couple times.
Thank you, Facebook. We'll catch you next week.
See you, face bizzles. I don't know why YouTube's on such a huge delay.
Craig don't even want to leave again. Now he's doing that thing like he did that one time. Where he's not recording that channel.